Well, most Americans assume their communications are protected from government surveillance because of the Fourth Amendment, but this privacy does not apply to personal emails, something some lawmakers are looking to change. One America's John Hines has more from Washington.
The right to privacy is guaranteed by the Constitution and is something that most Americans may take for granted. Yet this right does not apply to all emails, and it should, says Utah Senator Mike Lee.
There's a little-known quirk of a law passed about 30 years ago called the Electronic Communications Privacy Act that shockingly allows government officials to read your email as long as your email is at least 6 months old. We want to get rid of that quirk in the law and restore the Fourth Amendment. We live in a day and age when the government thinks that everything belongs to government, thinks that the government has the right to read your papers as long as they're online, and they have been for at least 6 months. This is wrong.
This may be wrong, as Lee says, but it occurred as a result of a law that has never been updated to reflect the way most people communicate today, says the Utah senator.
It would stand to reason that, given the Fourth Amendment's protection of your personal papers, your effects, your houses against warrantless searches and seizures, that it ought to apply to email. It's just as a result of a drafting error or perhaps a failure back in 1986 when this original law was drafted for people to imagine that one day the American people would routinely be transacting business and correspondence, personal and of a professional sort, through email.
The Fourth Amendment should protect emails, as Lee says, but it doesn't, which is why privacy advocates like Katie McAuliffe of Digital Liberty and Americans for Tax Reform thinks it's time for Congress to approve something like Lee's legislation.
This is a very important bill, particularly for ensuring Fourth Amendment rights are protected online. These days we use our email as file cabinets, and because of the way the law is structured, if you've had it longer than 180 days or it hasn't been opened, then law enforcement thinks that they can look at it without a warrant. Now, we contend that that's not the case. You need to get a warrant to read people's emails regardless of the time period, whether they've been opened or not, and that's what Senator Lee's legislation would do.
The legislation is called the Email Privacy Act, and it has significant bipartisan support, including from Democrats Patrick Leahy and Al Franken. John Hines, One America News, Washington.